Much like the recreation room at a retirement home, the witness from Thekla Inc. is rotten with puzzles and ruminations on existence. Sure, you could compare the gameplay to finger painting and the visuals to some Thomas Kincaid painting hung in the lobby, but that would be a disservice to the game and stretch the metaphor to its breaking point. Unlike the Sith, a discussion of the witness deals in few absolutes, and so it's easy to list them. 1. The game is gorgeous. 2. Puzzles are solved by drawing lines. 3. Well, like I said, easy. The regions and biomes that make up the game world are just as big as they need to be, with no wasted space, and exploring them constitutes some of the most enjoyable gameplay the Witness has to offer. The simplicity of the geometry belies the complexity in the use of color, lighting, and design. It doesn't take long to get the distinct feeling that everything in the environment has been meticulously crafted and placed. Without giving too much away, the further the player gets in the game, the more apparent the truth in that statement becomes. This fosters a perception that just about anything in the world can be part of a puzzle, a piece of the game's narrative, ideology, or all of the above. Speaking of narrative, those looking for any semblance of a linear story need not apply. What The Witness has instead is more of a philosophical underpinning hidden throughout its world, and I do mean hidden. The critical path through this game would probably lead most to assume that this island has nothing to say at all. Instead, those who want to find meaning in The Witness will have to hunt for it, but hey, maybe that's all a part of the story. But what about the puzzles? Well, that's a complicated question. One of the best things that can be said about The Witness is that it takes a concept and explores just about every possible facet of it. Sure, one could reduce the gameplay down to a simple exercise of connecting the dots, but that doesn't take into account the sheer number of different rules and mechanics the designers have implemented. And the same goes for those rules and mechanics. Each region in the game is designed to draw the player through it, teaching them non-verbally the rules from their most simple iteration to just about every other conceivable one with increasing complexity. But complexity isn't always a good thing, as some puzzles, especially towards the end of the game, rely not on iterating on existing rules, but on increasing the number of moving parts so that solutions involve less lateral thinking and more brute force. If design was simply a numbers game, The Witness would be an undeniable success due to the amount of different puzzles it contains. But unfortunately, it isn't, and these metrics may actually work against it. It is quite possible that the game has too many puzzles. Not all sections of The Witness are created equal, and it's at these times that the game can become a slog, and the repetitive nature of the gameplay pushes its way past the variety of its iterations to the forefront of perception. While some have recommended moving away from puzzles that frustrate you to further explore the island and take in the scenery, not everyone's personality allows this, and instead you may find yourself staring at a beautiful waterfall on a picturesque bluff, wondering where everything went wrong in your life. If one was to measure the game based on a ratio of frustration to joy, The Witness is, quite possibly, a failure. With no real reward for solving the majority of the game's puzzles save the player's own satisfaction at their accomplishment, there's nothing to balance out the occasional brain melter. Luckily, puzzle solutions aren't the only thing to appreciate in the game. The Witness deals in subtlety, and while it does go overboard from time to time, it's nice to see a game that treats the player with this amount of respect. The environments look fantastic, and the genius of the design only becomes more apparent the more time the player spends in the world. While the gameplay can be infuriating at times, it's difficult not to give it credit for choosing a mechanic and exploring every possible way to use it. In the end, it all depends on how much satisfaction you can derive from solving a puzzle, and how hard you're willing to work to uncover the game's subtleties. It's not an exact science, but hey, I'll let you connect those dots.